It's so good to see you again, my dears. Today is a big day for Grandma Granny. We're moving on from the separate parts of speech, like nouns and verbs, to looking at how sentences get put together. That's what we usually call grammar or syntax, the rules for combining words to form sentences. Grammarians, those are old fashioned folks who think about this kind of stuff a lot, they recognize some units bigger than words that make up sentences, and we've talked about them a bit before. Can you guess what they are? If you said phrases, have a cookie. Phrases consist of one or more words that go together to form a part or a constituent of a sentence. Usually, there's a main word or central element in a phrase that serves as the head of the phrase. Heads of phrases can be nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, or prepositions. These phrase groups are some of the building blocks that go into making sentences. Noun phrases contain nouns or pronouns and their modifiers, like adjectives and determiners. Once in a while, a noun phrase can rename another noun phrase, like when we say things such as Michael B. Jordan, the actor, or my sister-in-law, Janelle Collier. These kinds of renaming noun phrases are called appositives. Stop the video for a minute and see if you can think of a noun phrase for each picture in slide 11. If you said something like a big black dog, Joe the mail carrier, 2 pennies, and a speech-language pathologist, have a cookie. We've already talked a lot about verb phrases. You know they're made up of main verbs and their auxiliaries. Verb phrases, or VPs, also include any verb modifiers like adverbs. So if I say, I could very easily have been a contender, we know that the verb phrase includes the verb been, the auxiliary verbs could have, and the adverbs very easily. Verb phrases are the backbone of the sentence. Every sentence has one. Prepositional phrases always start with a preposition, like about, along, at, before, between, and so on. The preposition is always followed by its object, which is usually a noun phrase. So even though it contains an NP or noun phrase, the prepositional phrase, or PP, is named for the preposition that stands as its head. See if you can find the prepositional phrases in these sentences. Man, darling, I want you always around me, beside me. Woman, are you prepositioning me? Or, a sandwich walks into a bar. The bartender says, sorry, we don't serve food here. Or, ending a sentence with a preposition is not where it's at. Now, if you said around me, beside me, into a bar, and with a preposition, have a cookie, you found the prepositional phrases. Now, did you get the joke in the last example? Ending a sentence with a preposition is not where it's at. Lots of fussy old grammarians like Grandma Granny and maybe your high school English teacher object to ending sentences with prepositions that don't have a noun phrase object. Some people call phrases like where it's at dangling prepositions. There's one situation, though, where even the fustiest grammarian would agree that a preposition alone at the end of a sentence is okay. And that's when the preposition acts like a particle. Particles are words that don't fit into any of the other 8 parts of speech that we talked about. They're often parts of fixed expressions like tune up, turn off, and drop in. And do you notice that they are often prepositions acting in the role of particles? When a preposition acts like a particle, it's okay for it to come at the end of a sentence by itself. In fact, you could describe the life cycle of us baby boomers pretty well using particles. We turned up, tuned in, turned on, dropped out, grew up, sold out, worked out, aged out, and eventually we are going to conk out. Now, particles are pretty common even in the speech of young children, They appear in early 2 and 3 word phrases like turn off light. Adjective and adverb phrases are about what you'd expect them to be. They're phrases headed by adverbs and adjectives, but containing additional adjectives, adverbs, and determiners. Take a look at the phrases in slide 12. Stop the video for a minute and see if you can sort them into adjective and adverb phrases. Remember that adjectives modify nouns, but can also be modified by adverbs, as in, what a very funny story, where the adjective phrase, a very funny, modifies the noun story and contains the determiner a and the adverb very. The answers to this exercise on slide 12 are found on slide 13. Did you get them all? Then have a cookie. Now, here's a little review of everything we've been talking about in terms of phrases. You can find it on slide 14. Stop the video and see if you can match each phrase to its head. If you got a great game is a noun phrase, really very exciting is an adjective phrase, would have been one is a verb phrase, very quickly is an adverb phrase, and by an especially big fullback is a prepositional phrase. You've got the idea. You probably need a nap as much as Grammar Granny does now,